I want to give a huge thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. Therapy isn't something to run away from, it's a vessel to run towards. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online, so break out your comfies. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist at any time. Anytime. And schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. No more fumbling to get a session on the calendar. You schedule based on when the time is right for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. Therapy changed my life for the better. Pun intended. And with BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom picked for you, more scheduling flexibility, and a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Rocky. That's betterhelp.com/Rocky. Yes, Father's Day was this past Sunday, but who is celebrating the Zaddies with a capital Zaddy? Zaddy isn't a gender, a race, a sexual orientation. Zaddy is an essence. And depending on who the Zaddy is, sometimes you might just want to swallow that essence whole. But when you have a Zaddy in your life, I assure you, you'll just know. But just in case your keen hunter's instinct isn't fully developed, let me tell you the qualifications of being a Zaddy. A Zaddy must be strong. This may seem like an obvious one. I don't mean strong muscly, but sure, strong muscly really, really helps. Strong muscly will turn your panties into a DMX lyric. Slippin', fallin', can't get up. What I mean is mentally strong. The kind of strength that comes when they say, I got you. You not only believe the Zaddy, but you believe in yourself. And again, muscly strong doesn't hurt. Zaddies avoid drama at all costs. For daddies are leaders, wrapped up in peacemakers, wrapped up in swag. That's right, you can't be a Zaddy without swag. Zaddies tip well, because they know their cup runneth over. Zaddies command attention when they walk in a room, not because they're loud and boisterous or because they're sucking the energy out of the room. Zaddies command attention because they embody a quiet power. Zaddies wink. Zaddies know their worth and yours. Zaddies are slick, they're funny, and they are aware of their surroundings. My God, are they aware of their surroundings. If you're not out there being a Zaddy, then I hope you're out there loving a Zaddy. And if you're not out there being or loving a Zaddy, I hope you're in pursuit of a Zaddy. And remember my words, if nothing else. Father's Day comes but once a year, but Zaddies come year round.
It's time for
the
Rocket
Welcome to the Rocky Rundown, where you get to learn a little bit about my week. Party God Squad, hello. Did you have a good week? My week was jam-packed, and I'll be honest, the more days I live, the harder it is to say, did something happen yesterday, or did it happen 2 weeks ago, or did it happen 2 months ago? But that's life, baby. Strap in and get some Post-it notes so you can keep track, because I can't keep track for both of us, honey. Monday night, I had the absolute pleasure of seeing Talib Kweli live at the Blue Note, and as I sat there dressed up and relaxing, watching the concert, I thought, This is what life should be. Music on a weeknight. And if the concert wasn't enough, after that I went directly over to watch Dave Chappelle do an intimate show. Not much I can share on that, other than it was a real moment in time. And then he sang with the whole audience Bobby Caldwell's What You Won't Do for Love a cappella with all of us, right before he got off stage. And lucky for me, I had already listened to that song earlier in the day by choice because it's one of my favorites, so I was warmed up. Gladiator. Watching him was like watching a gladiator. I felt very lucky. The week continued to be eventful. I went out on Tuesday night with 5 friends in our neighborhood, and boy, oh boy, were we having a great time. The kind of fun where no one is looking at their phones, everyone is asking who needs drinks, who needs what, and the laughter is nonstop. Then we go outside to smoke weed, since it's so illegal to smoke indoors. Meanwhile, you can't even breathe the toxic air outside, but I don't make the laws. And when we got outside, we got deep in the conversation. Eye contact, sharing focus. It was a beautiful thing. Unfortunately, our in-depth conversation caught the attention of a barfly, which, in the Going Out Handbook, is going out faux pas number 112. Never interact with the barflies. He marched right up to us with the confidence of an ex-high school football player who takes women back to his alma mater to show them the trophy he won 20 years ago. They still keep it in the case, you know. I thought we were going to Olive Garden. Nah, sweetheart. When you're at Maspeth High School, you're family. And he came out of nowhere, too, like a troll from under the bridge. A Gremsy on the loose, smoking a cigarette like he saw one James Dean poster and decided to build his entire personality around it. And he starts telling us his grandma was a witch doctor. Okay, buddy. You have my attention. Proceed. It started off slow. His grandma was a satanic devil-worshipping witch doctor who healed the sick, but then on her deathbed, she said she saw Jesus. And his grandma was never a Jesus believer. She said Jesus' eyes were not one color, but all the colors, and his skin was not one color, but all the colors. And then she came back to life and no longer worshipped the devil, but loved Jesus. I hate to argue with someone's deathbed vision secondhand, but it sounds like your grandma took some acid and went to the Home Depot paint center, mixing a little sky blue for the den, I see. Look, I'm not a blasphemous gal. Nothing but respect for the big man upstairs. Look, my friend just bought a bunch of linen to add to his wardrobe, and I said I loved it because Jesus is always listening. And I know linen is part of his fall fashion collection. Has been for 2,000 years. And now there's receipts that I'm a fan. But this guy got intense. And me, after years of attempting to be a conflict resolver, with men whose voices are bigger than their little pee-pees, I de-escalated his now screamings, and we left. Which was a bummer too because we were having fun, and there's something about a bloodshot 5'10" Homer Simpson-shaped man who's yelling Bible verses at you on a Tuesday night while you're trying to confab with your friends that'll make you wanna bounce. Plus, I think by the end of his sermon, he was 2 seconds from saying, "And God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve." So I was also trying to avoid that conflict while sitting with Jesus' favorite sodomists, during Pride Month no less. So fuck that guy, or rather, wish him well, and may the Lord keep him far, far away from us. Amen. We put up with him for a long time, and it gave me the idea for a new game show. And don't steal it. Trademark, trademark, trademark. Okay, are you ready? What if someone wrote either a play or a movie that was 7 hours long, but it was the most boring piece of work of all time, no intermission, and the longer you sit there and watch, and don't fall asleep, the more money you get? Would people watch that show? I think more people would want to do the show than watch it. And that's because people want money. Do you know what's a good test of not only someone's wealth, but of how together they have their life? If they can go on vacation with their phone chargers, but also leave their phone chargers at home plugged in. Think about that the next time you're packing for Cabo. I went out with one of my girlfriends this weekend and had the pleasure of being hit on. Even if you're not attracted to the person, it still makes you feel good. It makes you feel sexy. The problem was, well, have you ever been hit on by a guy that's so white you have to wonder where his parents were on January 6, 2021? Don't make me wonder, my guy. For those reasons, I'm out. Rather than waking up next to a libertarian the next morning, I woke up surrounded by Taco Bell trash on the couch. It had the same shameful feeling of a bad one-night stand, just a little more expensive. I'm picking up taco wrappers like, was it as good for you as it was for me? Oh man, it felt so good to have you inside me last night. Listen, I'm going to pop over to CVS. Do you mind Venmoing me for half of this Pepto pill? It's only fair. And I hope you'll still be open, but don't be surprised if you hear from me mid-July around 3 a.m. Oh, you'll be waiting? That's what I thought. Next time, bring Cinesticks. You guys know I like to keep it positive, but I think within the year, Uber is going to go full membership. Meaning if you don't pay monthly, you're not going to get your eats or your rides. And if you think I'm wrong, look at Netflix. The longest running streaming service, and we thought they would never betray us. Now we're texting our friends for codes in the middle of the afternoon like we're Oliver fucking Twist. Please, sir, may I have your code? The Beatles were really onto something when they said yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Isn't it weird how collectively we know hundreds and thousands of lyrics to the same songs, but there is still no world peace, even after 50 Cent wrote In the Club? That song's like more popular than Happy Birthday. What hope do we have? That brings us to Rocky's highest thoughts, my most stoned thoughts of the week. Number 1, are parrots like humans or are humans like parrots? Think about it. Number 2, it's 2023. Why do walkie-talkies still sound like they're from the 80s? Somebody fix it. Number 3, I'd like to propose we change the spelling of fire to Figher. Fire is spelled fiery, and that's already spelled Fiery. And number 4, if you're really into and listening to a song in your mind, the volume shouldn't matter. My guest this week is comedian Robby Collins. Robby is a widely respected, absolutely cool, absolutely hilarious comedian. If you manage to keep your Netflix subscription, you can watch him on Only Jokes Allowed. And in the meantime, while we have him here in New York City, you can try to catch him live. I promise you won't be disappointed. Robby's wild word was hot dog, which I can proudly say is the first time in wild word history we've had that word. Well, hot dog. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can follow me at Wild Nights with Rocky on TikTok and Instagram, at Wild Nights Pod on Twitter. If you want to watch extended interviews with all of my guests, please subscribe on YouTube. A big thank you and a future thank you to everyone who's written and everyone who will write a review when this episode is over. It really does make a difference. And now, please enjoy my Wild Nights conversation with Robby Collins. Robby, welcome. Thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Hey, thank you for having me, Rocky.
I'm very excited. So we met about a little over a week ago, and I feel like since we've met, and you agreed to do the show, I have fallen into a Robby Collins deep dive. I've listened to you on podcasts. I watched your Netflix special, and it's like, you're this huge thing, and I'm just finding out. I shouldn't say a huge thing, but you're a huge person physically and in the comedy world, and I'm just finding out about you, and I'm so happy to.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. It's been a wild ride. It's my 15th year of comedy.
Wow.
15 years of comedy, but it's I don't know. Comedy is one of those sports where you can only grow the older you get. I think that helps. It's like there's no retirement plan. I feel like the older you get, the more you have to share with the audience, which is great.
Well, if you think about it in a sporting kind of context, athletes, when they start to get 32, 33, 34, that's when they're thinking about retirement. And comedians, when they get into their early to mid 30s, that's when they, a lot of the time, start blossoming.
Exactly. I think it's wild because I'm 36 now. I think LeBron is thinking of retiring.
Yeah.
And he's like a year older than me. So I think life is required to be a comedian, life and experience. And that makes you that makes you more appealing to the audience. I remember my early days trying to talk about heartbreak on stage, like at 21. And then the audience member just looking at me like, you don't know about pain.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know about it yet.
You don't even know what's coming yet.
Yeah, it's that thing. It's like, I see it with my little cousins when they talk about boyfriends and girlfriends. And it's like, I promise you'll be fine in a month.
Yeah.
Not even a month.
Have you guys had your hearts ripped out of your chest and trampled all over? I don't think so. Call me when you can't sleep for 2 months, and then we'll talk.
Let me know when you have a drinking problem.
Yeah. Let me know when people are concerned about you. Then you know heartbreak.
Right. It's just like right now, you just recess is uncomfortable because you still
Yeah.
see him.
Yeah, exactly. I would say younger people not knowing about heartbreak, if we put it in terms of food, the older you get, you're like a seasoned steak when you comes to getting your heart broken or going through life's tribulations. But when you're younger, you're just like a hot dog on the grill.
Totally.
Which reminds me that Robby's wild word was hot dog. So Robby,
Yes.
give us your wild night story. I'm dying to hear it. Hot dog.
Okay. My story runs from my story is a good 8 hours.
Okay.
So this is 2016. 2016,
Okay.
I just done my first Just for Laughs festival.
Gotcha.
And it was my first time out of Africa. It was pretty amazing. If you've been to Just for Laughs, you'll understand like the whole festival. It's just a week of being mind fucked. Mm-hmm. Like completely. You around your idols, you're doing shows, everything's just catered to you. It's an incredible festival.
Yeah.
I'm blown away by it, but I have to fly back home. The festival's ending, but at the same time, I'm going to another festival in South Africa, which happens to be a music festival, but it's out in the wilderness. It's in this place called Limpopo. There's nothing around this festival. It's just kind of depressing. The location is depressing.
And you're just coming off this really exciting, fun festival too. So it's like a downgrade almost, right?
Yeah. It's that, but it's also like, okay, cool. This is gonna be a cool festival to go to, cool break, and I'm gonna be performing. So it's money and it's getting on stage, but at the same time, my mind is in Montreal at the Just for Laughs festival. And I land, I spend a night in Johannesburg, and then my friends pick me up and we head into the festival. And it's like, you know, when you've experienced something crazy, and also with social media, people feel like they're part of your journey. So they've seen you go through it. So everybody's talking about it and we're excited. And at the same time, I think my confidence level was like here. Like I'm feeling good about myself. I've just been overseas. And we get to the festival, and obviously music festivals, music festivals are fun because there's a lot of, I don't know, you can take your edibles, you can drink. But if you have a show coming up, it's very hard to like settle into that world of the festival. Knowing that you still have to perform. Every time I've done a music festival and there's been comedy, we've always done the show at night. We've always done the show during the day because it's way better than nights. Because at a music festival, once the sun goes down, people turn into demons. Like there's a different energy that comes. And I'm very confident right now. Canada is still in my mind. I get up on stage and I'm hosting this gig. I get up on stage, and for some reason, I think it's between ego and their alcohol drinking and whatever they're on. We are just not getting along at all.
The audience?
Me and the audience are just not getting along. They booing. There's like heckles, but it's just getting bad. But the problem is I'm hosting. So every time I have to take an act off, I have to get off and then bring an act on. So I'm not just bombing in a 10-minute set. I am bombing
over and over.
Over and over. But every time,
just for perspective, Robby, how many people were watching you? How many people were at this festival every time you went back on stage?
There's about 5,000 to 6,000 people.
Oh, so barely anybody. Just a couple people. Oh my God.
But so some people like get up and leave because they don't have to be there. There's another band playing. And then some people will just come in. But even the new people who are coming in, I felt like they were hearing about this guy who was bombing on stage. So they're like, let's see this shit ourselves.
Yeah.
So people would sit down and it was just like a lot of screaming and this. And also at a music festival, you know, there's a lot of items to be thrown. There's a lot of things laying around.
Right. Okay.
There's cans of beer. There's there's whatever it is. There's rocks. There's
Yeah.
nature. Whatever you want to throw. Shoes, and they're at a stage where they are perfectly fine with actually. They're perfectly fine with throwing something at you, like they're out in the wilderness. They high. They drunk, and it's weird when you're having a bad show that people just feel like the audience just comes against you. So they either come together to love you, or they come together to be like, yo, this is whack.
Yeah.
Just get rid of this guy.
Yeah.
But I keep coming back. And I say to, so I'm trying to joke and nothing's working. So eventually they start throwing things at me, and it's cans of beer. Some are like half empty.
Okay.
Some and then a hot dog comes flying at me. And I just remember a hot dog flying, but the hot dog splitting in the air.
Okay.
And it's literally like Vienna on the one side and roll on the other side. And I'm ducking, and I give the mic to the comedian who's closing. And I'm like, I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
You wrap this shit up. I'm out. So
wait, let me stop you there. Was there no security, or there's nothing security can do because it's random objects?
So this is the comedy tent. So people don't think that comics need security. This is also 2016. This is before.
No one's been slapped.
Nobody's been slapped. Everybody just thinks we love each other in comedy rooms. So there's no security. Security is all probably at the entrance or at a stage with the band.
Mm-hmm.
I walk off stage and I'm just like, what the fuck? It's like reality's hit. But now we're at a music festival, so you're staying the night there. You can't really disappear. Like after you're down stage, you want to get away from the crime scene.
Yes. And I will say this, Robby, just for anyone listening who might not know you, it's not like you're someone who can duck into the shadows. You're a big dude. You're a big dude. So people see you.
People know what's happening. And it's so wild because they were drunk and they're high, but everywhere I went after that show that night, they would sober up and remember me.
Oh my God.
So they're at this point, like people just like disappointed. Eventually, my friend says to me, yo, let's get out of here. Let's go somewhere else. There must be a town close by. So we leave the festival.
Okay.
We leave the festival. This is at maybe 1 a.m. We head out, and it's like these dusty roads. There's no lights, no street lights at all. And we're just driving, and eventually we drive and we see this town, and there's like this tavern, and we're like, okay, cool. If we want to find somewhere to chill, people at a tavern will most likely point to us in the right direction.
Yeah.
So it just feels like, okay, cool. But South Africa has 11 official languages.
Wow.
Yes. And the area we in, English is like maybe the third language.
Okay.
I don't know any other language except for Zulu, and this is in the Zulu area. And so I'm speaking broken English and just trying to make it work. And my friend is trying to help me. Eventually, the barman says to us, hey, there's a strip club. There's a strip club maybe 20 kilometers away, and you can go there if you like.
So wait, at this point, when you're talking to the people, you don't speak English?
I don't speak English, but somehow we're connecting. It's like my level of depression and their level of drunkenness is somehow making sense.
Okay. And so they tell you there's a strip club.
There's a strip club. I get that from the guy, and he says it's 20 kilometers away.
Okay.
So we're heading out to the strip club, but we're driving on dirt road. So it's also like, okay, who has a strip club out here?
Yeah.
So we go into the strip club. We eventually find it, and the strip club is lit up it's like a gas station.
Yes.
The way a gas station is lit up.
Yes.
It's like that. It's an old gas station, and where you'd go in and pay for your gas, or where you go and buy snacks, they've kind of turned that into a strip club.
Amazing.
But the environment lets you know before walking in what kind of strippers you're dealing with. It's
right.
Like, walk in humble. Like you could expect anything.
Yeah.
we go inside, and but this time, sorry, I forgot this. Now on the way leaving the festival, I take an edible because I'm like, hell, I'm just trying to. I don't want to get drunk right now, but I also just want to not feel sober.
Yeah,
I need to
I need to escape. Yeah.
We walk in, and there's this chick on stage dancing to Michael Jackson's Billie Jean, but she's fully clothed. No, she's not wearing like lingerie or anything.
Nothing sexy.
She's not even wearing heels, Rocky. She's in bootleg jeans and a hoodie with a zip like this.
Oh my God.
And my friend are like, what the fuck is you're like, what the hell is going on? So we're watching these things, and it's a really like poor area, the area around where the music festival was. Right. So people aren't even giving like notes. They're throwing coins. So you can hear like coins.
No.
It's one of those. so we're chilling there.
And is that considered if you go to a strip club in America and you start throwing coins at the strippers, all the strip clubs I've been to, it's like that is frowned upon. Is that frowned upon there, or is that kind of expected?
That's frowned upon in South Africa as well.
Okay.
This is a specific area in South Africa.
Okay, gotcha.
I am shocked by watching this.
Yeah. It's also like if you're throwing coins at a strip club, like, and that's all you have to throw, maybe you shouldn't be at the strip club.
Exactly. But at the same time, she is also wearing bootleg jeans and a hoodie.
Yes, yeah.
And I don't know, maybe I don't want to say she deserves coins, but she's not trying to get paid with.
Yeah. It's not the way to get it.
So now we're watching this, but then like now I'm drinking alcohol and the edibles hitting.
Yeah.
So everything's just kind of happening. And I promise you, a little person walks in.
Okay.
A little person it was definitely fake fur. Naturally. But a little person in a fur coat, like a J-Lo fur coat, walked in, and then he walks in with two chicks, and he sits at a table, but I couldn't stop laughing because his feet couldn't touch the table. Right. And then he ordered a burger, chips, fries, and a hot dog, and started eating it with a knife and fork. And I remember then my friend and I just like, let's go back to the festival.
Yeah.
Like, let's get out of
here. Yeah.
And yeah, that was literally, we went back to the festival, slept over. By the time we got to the festival, I think like most people were in their tents, and it ended up being fun. And the next day woke up and did the same show again, but during the day around 1 p.m. And it was awesome. It was almost like people who were there forgotten what happened the night before. And then we ended up having a great weekend.
Okay, good. It was like a redemption almost.
It was a redemption, but it was also crazy. Like there's one part when I was on stage the next day where I wanted to say, do you guys remember booing me yesterday?
No, because then they'll flip and then they'll start booing you again.
Yeah, it was like new people. Completely new people.
That's insane. And the fact that you started the night, first of all, it feels like you were in this whirlwind world already. You're coming from Just for Laughs, you're on this high, and then you're like, okay, can I chase that feeling? Can I have that all over again at this other festival, even though it's not as fun as Just for Laughs? Then the crowd turns on you, almost as if they knew your heart was somewhere else.
Right. When I think about it retrospectively, I think my approach to that show might have been wrong.
Yeah.
It would have probably been me having a bit of an ego that night and them being drunk and high. And they were probably just like, nah, not today.
Not today, buddy. Not today. We can't tell how big you are on stage, so we are going to throw hot dogs at you.
Exactly.
And then to have the night end with this guy come in and order a hot dog. It's like, first of all, that if that's not a sign from the universe, like, get out of this place.
It was so funny because when I saw the hot dog, I was like, okay, cool.
Trauma.
A lot of trauma. But then when he pulled out the knife and fork and started eating it with the knife and fork, then I was just like, oh, it's okay. We can actually go back.
But well, think about it like this. If it was it a big burger?
Everything's big to
Well,
you, a little person.
right. So maybe he couldn't, like, that's what I'm saying. It sounds like, I feel like what I'm saying sounds mean. It's not meant to sound mean. I'm someone who has like long ass salad fingers. My fingers are so long. But if you have smaller hands and you get, this big ass burger in front of you, you might be like, my only option is knife and fork. You know what I mean? The hot dog he can just grab, but the burger he might have to, in a way where you wouldn't need to cut up a burger like that, Robby, he might need to cut up a burger. Plus, he didn't want to get his mink dirty.
This is so true. This is true. But it was such a vision to see a lady on stage playing with a zip. And she never even took off the hoodie, which was really upset because she went through 2 Michael Jackson songs.
Oh.
And like I was like, not even a shoulder was shown. And I'm not a strip club person.
Okay.
I'm never liked it. I just needed to find something else to do.
Right. You were just there.
Yeah. It wasn't even like, okay, we need to see titties. Like, no, It was just like, we need to get away from the crime scene.
Yeah.
And that's the best place. And there was I don't know how much you've been like into small towns and stuff. Small town people really are happy with what they have.
Right.
With stuff. Those guys were so happy with that strip club, what they call a strip club.
So it's funny that you say that about small towns, because my town that I'm from Connecticut originally. My town is not small, but it is referred to as like a towny town. It's a beach town, and there's one street that has this strip of bars, but all the bars have people age range from like 21 to 81. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, right.
Male, female, all different ethnicities, but like predominantly white at these particular bars. So it's like those towny bars kind of are like, everybody's happy with what they have. Everybody comes to these bars on like a Wednesday or something. You know what I mean? Like they are,
Yeah.
they're happy to be there. So I definitely get what you mean when you say that. And if you come in, even though I'm from there, if I come in like dressed a little bit more New York City or like a little bit more loud, you do stand out.
Right. It's that's exactly that strip club. I think it was mixed with race and different ages. So it was just like one of those things. You're like, this is what we have right now. Like, we all contributed to make this work, and
we're making this happen. Do you think you don't like strip clubs because you go to strip clubs where the strippers wear hoodies? Do you think that is a factor on why?
I've been to strip clubs before, and I've always found it. I've always.
You prefer a blazer?
No, I for me, I just find it. It's always seemed depressing.
Right.
Like every time I've gone to a strip club, it's never been like guys celebrating a birthday or celebrating a bachelor's, or even ladies. I've seen ladies in strip clubs as well, but it's never seemed like a celebration. It's always seemed like a last resort for many people, and that was a last resort.
Yeah.
It wasn't divorce, or wasn't like I'd just been fired or something. But for that night, it was a last resort for me. And I think I feel like people come together in strip clubs, and it's a lot of that. Like, we shouldn't be here, but we're here right now.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make it work.
That's so funny.
It was interesting. It's never been a sexual thing for me.
Gotcha.
I've never thought of it like that.
Gotcha. Well, if those are the environments you've been going in, then it's like, it's not going to be that way. But there's some good ones. There's some good ones in the city, and there are some good ones in America, but I imagine that there's some bad ones in America. And speaking also of America,
yes.
How long are you here for? Are you living here? Are you doing 6 months on, 6 months off? What is the deal?
Well, by the end of this year, our America will be my base. I'm doing the transition
Oh.
slowly. So like last year I was out here twice for 4 months. And this time it's been 2.5 months. And then I go to Dubai next month. And
Wow.
then back home to South Africa, it's Trevor's tour. So I'll be there for that.
Are you you're going to be a part of Trevor's tour?
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
that's exciting. And then it's just going to be back and forth, but America will soon become my base.
That's amazing.
It's just look, it's where you need to be for stand-up comedy. And stand-up comedy is really big in South Africa, but I think New York City alone,
It's amazing.
it's amazing. It's amazing. It's one of
Now,
like, yeah.
I was going to say, you mentioned Trevor. You have been a featured comedian for him for many years now, right?
Yeah.
So, what has the progression been? Like, how have you seen going on the road with him maybe 10 years ago to now? What has the progression been like for
Well,
you?
it's been great. I think I have more responsibility on tours. It's not just being the opening act. I
No.
think it's time as the time on stage has grown from the time spent together and being on the road together. But it's also, I think the progression also lies with Trevor when he started it, when he started going on tour back in 2010. He was a
Mm-hmm.
kid. I'm way younger than him, but he was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and his audience. He I think people in America don't even see him as a South African anymore. Like Americans see him as one of theirs. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like with the Daily Show, I think being in people's homes every day for so many years,
Mm-hmm.
I think he's definitely surpassed just being that guy from Africa.
Mm.
So I opened for him at the Cellar on Sunday, and just seeing how the audience react to him there, it was pretty. It's pretty strange to see because I know the person, but at the same time, the way the American audience react to him, I feel like I don't really know him in this environment.
Wow. Wow.
But it's in
Yeah.
a good way because like he murders,
Yeah. Almost
but America.
like you're proud almost because that's your friend first.
Totally. But I also remember when he was moving to America and I said to him, it was our final tour. And I said to him, like, yo, what are you gonna, this is before the Daily Show. I said, what are you gonna do if it doesn't work out? And he was like, I'll come back.
Yeah.
That was literally his words, like, I'll come back. It's like, but he came to America going, I just need to see how far I can go. Because he
Yeah.
had reached the ceiling so soon in his career.
Yeah.
And now when I watch him, and I know the Cell is not even like a big theater, but even just the love in those small cellar rooms, you can just see how Americans look at him and like, here's our guy who's going to
Yeah.
try and make sense of what we experiencing,
Yeah.
which is really great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so cool. And it's also really cool that you get to, you know, see the process from the beginning to, I don't even want to say the finished product because there's probably so much more good that Trevor Noah is going to do for comedy in the world. But like the fact that you know him in that capacity, and he probably feels the same way about you, right? Like he's known you for so long. And now I was watching your Netflix special the other day and I was just laughing my ass off, and
Thank you.
that's a huge accomplishment too. Did you feel differently before the Netflix special to now after it? Did you feel a sense of like, man, I checked a box. I can do this.
Yeah, but it's so crazy. Netflix was meant to happen before the pandemic.
Mhm. Oh, it
Like,
was.
like we literally had a meeting in February of 2020 to try and do it by April.
Okay.
I had a whole show and everything ready for it. And then we all had to be shut down. But at the same time, I always feel like things happen when they're meant to. I think the pandemic
Mhm.
was the as much loss happened in the pandemic, there was also growth for a lot of people.
Mhm.
And that solitude kind of was needed.
Yeah.
Was kind of, you know what I mean? I think it was
Yeah, a
needed in.
good reset.
Oh yeah. And I think a lot of comedians and entertainers in general are so used to living our lives outside with people and entertaining people.
Mhm.
A lot of us had to, excuse me, to go, okay, how do I feel about myself in this situation? So when the Netflix came out, it was like, I'm ready to go, but also I felt stronger in a way.
Wow. Yeah. You
I
felt
feel,
more ready almost.
yeah, but and not just comedically ready. I felt like, okay, I'm ready to step up in my career and do this thing, because there's one thing about doing comedy, but nobody tells you about how you're going to deal with some sort of new fame, and it doesn't have to be worldwide fame, but just getting attention from people.
Right.
Like if you're in a crazy place in your life, like that attention can kind of take you astray if you're
Yeah.
not ready for it. Like nobody tells you how to deal with attention or how to deal with new money. That's
Oh.
you know what I mean?
Yes, because that's a whole nother layer. It's like the attention feels good. You can get the attention, you can get the love, but then when you get the money part of it, it's like, well, who am I with this money?
Exactly. It's just
Wow.
it's like nowhere, not in school, nobody ever taught us how to deal with money.
Yeah. Yeah. What is one thing that when you got a little bit of that new money that you're talking about, what is one thing that you were like, this is an upgrade I have to do in my life that I didn't do before, but I have to do it now?
Move to New York.
Move to New York.
Move to New York. It's simple. Like that, I
Mm-hmm.
invested that money into New York in my career, because I was like, okay, you can buy a car, but then you kind of just sitting at home in South Africa
Yeah.
in your car and enjoying your car and your ego,
Yeah.
or or you come here to the jungle
It is the
and
jungle.
you check you check yourself and see how far you
So
go.
you were saying in terms of investments, you don't have any children or anything like that?
Yeah, but and it's, I understand, like this, we all have different priorities in life, and
Mm-hmm.
there's comedians who need to make sure that their home life is fine and stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, I was like, okay, cool. I can take this money and just invest in myself and see how
Yes.
far things can go,
Yeah.
which I'm fortunate to be able to do, because it's. I think for me, if I was sitting at home in South Africa, I would have this play on my mind how far it could go or
Right.
what could happen. But at the same time, I'm also 36, and 36 is actually pretty young in comedy.
I think so too. I'm 35, so I feel the same. I feel the same.
35?
I am. I am. So I wanted to ask you this too. A little bit about my writing process. I like to throughout the week for when I'm preparing for the show, one of the things I do is if something funny happens, I'll send myself a text, make a little note of it. That way I remember because you know how quickly ideas fall out of your head. And then
Yeah.
in solitude, I write from there. That's kind of my writing process, observational solitude by myself writing in a notebook. How do you write your jokes? Do you do it based on crowd work? Do you do it based on observational humor? What is kind of your starting point that you write your jokes from?
For me, it's got to be interesting. I think it's the excitement of wanting to share the story,
Mhm.
not so much the excitement of wanting to tell a funny thing. So when I know, it's like the thing where you just, when you're texting a friend and you're like,
Uh-huh.
I can't do this on text. I need
Yeah.
to call the person
Yeah.
and tell them what the fuck I just experienced.
Yeah.
So that's when I know I'm onto something good.
Mm.
So when I'm start feeling like that, I'm like, I need to go to that gig just to do this gag, because some gigs, especially in New York, when I first came out here, lots of gigs felt like an audition.
Okay.
Play around. But now I'm starting to get the gist of the city, where I go to different gigs so I can just work on material. So I
Mhm.
know if I have an interesting idea and you slot it in between jokes that work, that's when I'm going to present it. I have different stages. Like sometimes I'll just journal and I'll write what's happening in my life, whether it's happy, sad, funny,
Whatever.
and whatever, and just
Mhm.
get things off my chest. And then those things and those feelings usually to stage maybe like 2 months down the line. It's when I've just kind of gotten out of that and you can process and go, oh, that's what was happening, or that's
Mhm.
how I was feeling about a thing. But most of the comedy and the jokes are being written on stage. I
Wow.
just need to figure out what I'm trying to say about it. So once as I know how I feel about the thing, then I can go anywhere with it.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's a good process, and it feels very specific to you. Like that's the one thing about comedy. The when you're writing your jokes and creating your sets or whatever your avenue for comedy is, you have to have your own process, and it sounds like you have that down. And it also sounds like you have, before you go to Dubai, you have some shows coming up as well. One I have to promote because it is my dear friend who introduced me to you, actually, Liam. You're
yes,
headlining his Coming to America show at 9 p.m. on June 29th in Astoria at QED.
yeah. Liam, very, very funny. Liam Dalton.
Yes, he's the best. He's been on the
Yes.
show before.
Yeah.
Liam is great. We love Liam. What else do you have? This episode will be out this upcoming Monday. So what else do you have coming up that you can tell the listeners
Sure.
about Robby?
I have, if you can follow me, you'd see all my gigs because
Yes,
there's so
follow
many.
him.
Yes, Robby Collins underscore. There's just a lot of shows happening around New York. And then actually the day before our gig, I'm in North Carolina
Oh wow.
doing a show in Raleigh, North Carolina, which I'm excited about because my brother stays out there with his 3 kids.
Oh, nice.
So I'll get to see him and the kids, which is really exciting. And
Uncle
then it's just going to
Judy.
be Uncle Juice. It's so wild because I see them every year. And my nephew's 16, the other nephew is 12, and then my niece is 10.
Okay.
And with kids, if you don't see kids for 6 months, you feel like they've grown beards the next time you see them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, so it's interesting to see because when I saw them last year in November, I was struggling to make conversation with them
Mm.
because the little girl who's 10, I just felt like I was boring her.
Yeah. You're like,
like
you don't understand. I've had hot dogs thrown at me, okay? I'm interesting.
you know, I think kids might be the hardest to make laugh and
Yeah.
engage with, and especially around that 8 to 16, because you get kids who know a lot for their age, and then you
Yeah.
get kids who are just innocent kids
Yeah.
who don't know that outside world. So it's very hard to gauge with what a kid knows or what they've heard. So like sometimes I'll just like sit and listen to them to try and figure out where's my entry point here. Because if
Yeah.
I'm gonna do stereotypical uncle stuff like, hey, I got you a Barbie, I'm gonna get booed again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Kids are hard to navigate. And I totally agree about the if you don't see them for 6 months. Two of my best friends have a baby, and the baby's like a little over a year and a half. But sometimes just with life, I'll go like 3 4 5 weeks without seeing her, and then when I see her, I'm like, oh my god, you're a totally different version of
Right.
who you are, like who I knew. You were just this little thing a month ago, and now you're like walking and making little baby jokes. And it's kids grow quickly, man. They grow really quickly.
It's crazy, man. Yeah, yeah. Like they have opinions.
Yes.
Man, they know how they feel about the world already.
They haven't been beat up and abused, and they haven't had their hearts ripped out yet. You know what I mean? They don't
No,
know heartache.
they don't. But it's such a beautiful, innocent thing. But it's also, I'm not a parent, but you also realize as an adult how much they're looking at you.
Yeah, yeah, and
Like
observing
they're observing everything.
everything and listening to everything, and they have really good hearing because they're little and their ears aren't damaged yet.
No, it's wild. It's wild. Like I would love to have kids one day. I think
Yeah,
I think I've always wanted to have kids. So it's always interesting when I see people who are parents, and also the way my friends are raising the kids are just so different to the way my parents raised me.
yeah,
Like my
yeah,
friend has a moment with his kids where they sit down every week and they just talk about feelings.
yeah.
He has 2 boys. And I'm like, how are they? How is this happening? Like, well, it's really good, but it's like this is crazy that it's. I'm not even like that much older, but it's wild. It's changed so much that's allowed.
It's
Like if you,
mature.
it's mature. Like
Yeah,
if I felt away, I'd maybe tell my sibling. Like that's as much as it is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I also know that there's a lot of parents that won't say no. They say no, thank you. No, thank you. We don't do that. No, thank you. Instead of, bitch, give me
Oh,
that knife.
no, thank yous.
No, thank you. Yeah, that's a big thing that parents do now. Particularly probably in the New York area, but that's like we don't say no, we say no, thank you. We don't say you
No, thank.
can't, we say no, thank you.
Shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm not a parent either, and I think I would like to be a parent one day. But then sometimes I'm like, oh man, I feel like I'm dipping my toes into the Hollywood lifestyle, and I'm like, I love it here. How can I? It's easy not to say it's easier for men to be like, but you know, you don't have to change your whole entire body. Bodies are hard to maintain. I got to get a surrogate.
What, dude? It's so crazy. Like, ladies, the thing, ladies, like, whatever happens with your body, you don't even have to have a kid, and
Yeah.
something's happening with your body.
Oh yeah. Thank you for understanding that. Right? Do you hear that, men out there? Thank you
I
for
have three
understanding that.
sisters.
Yeah.
I have three sisters, so I know. I've been at home to experience a few things.
Yeah.
So it's like when life is happening for me and I'm going through stuff, I can only imagine life happening and your body's happening on the other hand, on the
Dude,
other side. Like that's a lot. Because
it's a
I
lot.
wonder if I wonder if New York is even a place where I could raise kids. Because right now it just seems like a place for comedy.
You probably have to get another one of those Netflix specials, Robby, if you're trying to raise kids here. You're gonna need a little money if you're trying to raise kids here, Robby. That's all
Oh
I'm
shit.
saying. That's all I'm saying. Well, Robby, give everybody your social media one more time so they can follow you, find you, and be just enamored with Robby Collins.
My social media is Robby Robby Collins _ and it's that on all platforms.
All platforms. Robby, this was so much fun. That was such a
Thank you,
wild night.
Rocky.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that story. It was a great chat, and I am positive, sure, 100% that you and I will see each other soon. Okay?
Definitely, definitely.
Definitely. Definitely. All right,
I love
Robby.
that.
Thank you so much for doing the show, and we'll talk soon. Bye.
Thank you.